first film we're going to look at today is actually one which I think I'm the only one who's seen it, but it is the film which just came out yesterday in cinemas, and that is the new version of Mean Girls. And in Mean Girls, we follow the fortunes of Katie Heron, played by Angourie Rice, who leaves the wilds of Africa to a different type of wildlife in a high school in the US. Here's a clip.
You could be really hot if you change like everything.
I met a guy in the summer and I left him in the spring.
Welcome to Health and Human Sexuality. We'll be getting into abstinence, of course, then followed by in the spring, condoms and choking.
You're learning things now that I don't know how to teach.
Are you okay in there? We're concerned you're either doing drugs or having a toilet baby.
Ew.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous thing to do, isn't it, to remake a classic? The original Mean Girls came back from 2004, so we're effectively 20 years later, but it holds a real place in a lot of young people's hearts, including my daughter, who is now, what is she, 15, 37. So she was a big Mean Girls fan, and it's a dangerous thing to do to remake a film that loved. And indeed, I think this was a somewhat dangerous thing to do. The producers in their adverts were saying, well, yes, we're remaking it for a new generation. And that may well be the case. But to be honest, I think it'd be better if the new generation watched the old film again and followed it that way. Tina Fey, who co-wrote the original Mean Girls, is actually back as the writer of this one. So there is that continuity for the film. And one thing which I did particularly like in this film was Angourie Rice getting a leading role. You remember she made a terrific impression, well, she did on me anyway, as the young daughter, Ryan Gosling's daughter in The Nice Guys. And since then, to be honest, given she made such a stir with the critics, she really hasn't had an awful lot of opportunity. She was, what's her name, Betty in the Spider-Man movies, but that was little more than kind of cameo performances for her. And here she gets a leading role, and she actually does very well with it in both an acting and a singing role. Playing the part of the lead plastics that was kind of made her own by Rachel McAdams is Renee Rapp. I didn't think she did such a good job. And one of the problems, I think, with this film is you cannot help but compare it with the characters and the actors in the original film. There is some continuity, though. Tina Fey and Tim Meadows both return as two of the teachers. They play teachers in the original film. And Lindsay Lohan is actually back playing a moderator of a mathletes competition, a maths playoff between two schools. So that was quite fun. But overall, it was noisy. It was frenetic. It struck me that they were trying too hard with this film to make something really loud and teenage-like. And who knows, right? Maybe today's teenagers with their short attention span, they might fall for this and they might really love it, because it is quite a fun film as a comedy musical. And this is very much a musical. It's based on the stage show Mean Girls. So it's got a lot of songs, far too many songs in my view. But the comedy is actually quite fun. And there are some funny lines in here, which I won't spoil ahead of you guys going to see it. But it was quite fun. But to me, it just felt a little bit desperate. That being said, the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man went into this film with a very heavy heart, thinking that she was absolutely going to hate it. And she actually ended up really having a good time. She actually gave this one 4 stars out of 5, so 8 out of 10. I was not as generous because I cannot not compare it to the original classic. So I gave this one a 6 out of 10. So just based on my view, the new Mean Girls movie is a miss. but I'm not the target audience. And I will be very much interested in your guys' views next week on what you made of it and whether we can turn the miss to a hit. But we'll see. And also, I think it'll be interesting to watch the box office to see if it does attract a teenage audience who might like it more than I did.